it is such a bullish news for the ecosystem, because what is happening is competition is driving more economic back to the user and developer. So I think that's also why this news is so controversial. It's so significant, and it's such a demonstration of, I think, just next step, what the protocol is really about. It's about bringing economic value back to their users.
Hey everyone, welcome to Unchained, your no-hype resource for all things crypto. I'm your host, Laura Shin. This is the September 12th, 2025 episode of Unchained. The crypto world is buzzing. On October 1st and 2nd, 25,000 people will be at Token 2049 Singapore, the largest crypto event in the world, featuring headline speakers like Eric Trump, Vlad Tenev, Tom Lee, Balaji Srinivasan, and Arthur Hayes. Visit asia.token2049.com now to get 15% off tickets with the code UNCHAINED. Today's guest is Shuyao Kong, co-founder of MegaETH. Welcome, Shuyao.
Thank you, Laura. I have been a long-term fan of your podcast and book. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. That's so sweet. Well, I'm excited to have you. Listeners might actually already know you because you appeared on the chopping block, but they called you Brother Bing throughout and went into a whole thing about how you even got that nickname. So for those of you who know Brother Bing, this is Brother Bing. But yes, we have used her real name here. Okay, so we are in the midst of what has so far been a very intense competition for the USDH stablecoin ticker on Hyperliquid. We actually already did an episode on this. We listened to two of the teams, kind of talking about what they were pitching. But there's many other teams that have made proposals, and a bunch of them have also offered to give all the revenue back to Hyperliquid. The race has had an element of drama. There's been accusations that this was in the bag for native markets all along. There were, Paxos and other teams that revamped their proposals based on feedback. And then on Thursday, Ethena, which they had actually already bought other stablecoin tickers on Hyperliquid, they withdrew from contention for the USDH ticker. That happened on Thursday morning. So, throughout, Shuyao, your protocol has actually been kind of in a bit of an interesting position because you actually also announced your protocol native stablecoin USDm on Monday. And you mentioned to me earlier that the Hyperliquid drama actually caused you to shift that announcement. So why don't you, because you've been through what the community is going through in public, but you went through it in private. I was just curious, why do you think we're seeing this kind of swelling up of competition and deliberation over these different protocol native stablecoins?
Yeah, I think first of all, I am super bullish that Hyperliquid is actually doing such a public auction. I think it's a fantastic opportunity not only to bring attention, but bring the best deals out to the Hyperliquid community. It is also a fantastic way to educate the community on what is the role of a stablecoin in an ecosystem. I think fundamentally, I am super bullish because I think crypto in our industry is all about this intermediary. And stablecoin issuer used to be serving as an intermediary in an ecosystem. But now we're seeing that protocol are owning the stablecoin narrative again, and revenue or yield are being redistributed back to the community. From our end, I think we saw this trend very much earlier on. Our goal is to build an ecosystem centered around economic model that brings a very sustainable protocol. And obviously, another goal in the beginning was, I was at Consensus for a long time. I've seen many different protocols launching from 0 to 1. And every time I go to a new ecosystem, I'm trying to bridge asset or trade, and I would see 10 different representation of stablecoin. I just don't know which one to use. And obviously you go with the big ones, right? But the big ones, the yield doesn't go to the ecosystem. So I think partly it was because I was trying to solve the user pain point. When you go to an ecosystem, there is one stable coin that is aligned with the community interest, is backed by the community. So that was the original purpose of us issuing our own stable coin. But I think Hyperliquid definitely, took it to 10x much bigger and better than us.
Yeah, well, I'd be curious if you could just relay that story again about how this competition over USDH affected your announcement.
Yeah, it wasn't affecting. I mean, we were supposed to announce it in the middle of the week, but then we saw the USDH announce, well, the governance forum, and we follow it up very closely. And then we realized that, okay, you know what, instead of announcing in the middle of the week, because everybody is following USDH, we should just announce ours a little bit earlier. So we worked over the weekend.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Well, clearly, I think that was the right move because that news did break through on Monday. But yeah, by the middle of the week, the competition over USDH kind of had broken through to a fever pitch. So the other thing that's been really interesting to watch is all these different arguments that have been made in public over, which team should win, and there's been a lot of different kind of factors that people have been calling out about, what they think are more important than others. When your team was trying to decide which team to go with for USDM, what factors did you consider, and how did you eventually make your choice?
Yeah, the analogy I often think about doing business development in crypto is always it's like early stage investing. The fundamental thesis in ethers and how we think about just business development is picking the right team, whether they are founders or the team within a larger company. And then the reason is that if the founder and team really value your business and value the partnership, then they can actually weather all of the difficulties, right? So I saw that a lot of people were worried about like compliance. Like, obviously, it was a reason for us, but if you look at Genius Act, it's going to take months for things to play out. And my job is to pick a team that's able to weather the compliance storm with us. Another factor would be like adoption of the stablecoin. My job is to make sure that my partner is able to bring new use cases, is able to be resilient and strong when things are not going well. And then I think lastly would be a team that really value our own ecosystem, like understand what Mega does. I think in the case of Hyperliquid, right? We both saw the announcement this morning from Guy. I think the chance of native markets winning is perhaps really high. I think here the Hyperliquid community are valuing that, okay, we're going to choose an early stage company, even though they have no track record, but we believe that they're going to do the best thing for us, even though they're not giving 100% yield back to the community, right? But their goal is really growth, the USDH adoption.
Yeah, and just for people, so I know this is going to go out Friday, but on Thursday, at the time we're recording, it looks like Native Markets has a 93.5% chance of winning the USDH ticker on Polymarket. So, I kind of also looked there. There's a little like dashboard where you can look at how the race is going, and yeah, it does look like all of I wouldn't say all, but like the vast majority of the validators that have a large stake are for native markets. But I actually wanted to ask about that. Is it just so like when I was looking at it, I was like, well, people can move their stake. Is it just that they haven't moved their stake? Or is it just that people think the whales are going to, not change their stake? And so, like, even if everyday people switch their stake, it doesn't matter? Or like, what do you think? You know,
Oh, I can only guess. I feel like people speculate on this, and I think part of it is a self-fulfilling prophecy, but I do think this idea of backing a native protocol makes sense to everyone, and it kind of became a consensus.
Oh, okay. Well, earlier in the week, I don't know if I would say that everybody thought that, but okay. But before we even get into all that, I did want to ask, like, so you guys chose Athena. Why did you choose Athena?
Yeah, so I mean, Ethena has a track record of building a stablecoin that is wildly successful. But second, I would say like we follow our philosophy. I think working with the Ethena team with Guy has been really a pleasure. They were able to solve a lot of our compliance issues. So we were actually thinking about this many months ago. This was before Genius Act, before like anyone even thought about it. So the amount of money and time we spent on legal was like insane. And then, and obviously, guy came and just sorted a lot of things off our shoulder. And, we are focusing on launching a chain, right? Like our job isn't launching stablecoin. So that's a primary reason. We've talked to other partners as well, and everyone has been, I would say, amazing. I have, nothing against them. To us, it's a matter of fit. It's a matter of just partnering with someone we really believe in.
Well, in a moment, we are going to talk a little bit more about what exactly is happening with USDH. But first, a quick word for the sponsors who make the show possible: Eric Trump, Donald Trump Jr., Tom Lee, Vlad Tenev, Paolo Arduino, Balji Srinivasan, Arthur Hayes. These are just some of the headliners at Token 2049 Singapore, the largest crypto event in the world, happening October 1st and 2nd. Over 25,000 attendees, 500 exhibitors, and 300 speakers will converge for an unmissable week. Token 2049 will take over all 5 floors of Marina Bay Sands, transforming it into a pop-up city with 1,000 side events, nonstop networking, and immersive experiences, all leading into the Formula One Grand Prix weekend. Ticket prices are rising this week. Visit asia.token2049.com and use code Unchained for 15% off tickets. Back to my conversation with Shuyao. So you mentioned earlier about how people were valuing this Hyperliquid aligned characteristic. Explain, what that means. When people say that, what are they really saying?
Do you mean the characteristics of the different framework and criteria, or
like what does that mean in specifics? Like, what does it mean to be Hyperliquid aligned? Like, why would somebody who's more like a Paxos or Ethena or whatever, some of those other teams that were not being described that way, like why, like what is the difference?
This is why I love your podcast, by the way. You're very like don't throw the word alignment to me, be specific. So my mentor model has been like, if Hyperliquid goes down, what will this stablecoin partner do? If this stablecoin partner have other business, they're going to abandon Hyperliquid and go do something else, right? That's going to support their business. I think a super Hyperliquid aligned team would stay. Again, weathering the storm along with the core team, because this is their core battleground. Like they have to win. I think that's where like the spirits of alignment fundamentally comes from. Like this is our bet.
Oh, interesting. Sort of like we're already a success in other areas, so we can cut our losses if this doesn't work out. Whereas like for something like a native markets, which is, I think, the proposal that has been most, frequently called Hyperliquid aligned, they don't have anything else. It's like sink or swim kind of situation.
That is my interpretation of alignment. I think that's why people are saying, homegrown is the most bullish, because they can't run away. There's nothing else out there.
Okay. Well, so that's just one of the, more common argument points that we've seen this week. And I wondered if you could talk about like some of the other, critiques or the way people are kind of prioritizing different characteristics. Like, as you're looking at that, do you feel like there's certain ways that people are thinking about this that's like a little bit smarter or like not as smart? Like, what are some of the different arguments that you've seen that kind of caught your attention as like, maybe how people are not necessarily, because like the people in the public, they're not building. So just in conversation, they might not be thinking about it the way that like a builder would.
There are a few actually stood out to me and actually contribute to how, as an observer, I look at this, which again makes me even more bullish on Hyperliquid, I guess. I think one thing jumped out to me was I think Paxos offering. They do have unfair advantage in Web2, in TradFi that I think no one else can offer. I think that's really attractive. And I think the second one was, I think the lawyer at Varian Farm tweeted out, about the compliance. It's really about it's not about complying today. It's really about complying in the future, which I thought was like a genius argument. It's actually how we thought about picking a partner as well. And then I think the last one was, I forgot whom, I think the Ethena argument has always been like, if the rate goes down, then you kind of want a more yield-bearing stablecoin. I think that was clever. The way I really think about stablecoin is, there are two types of stablecoin users. One is the yield sensitive ones. Whatever you do, you have a risk appetite that, trading pair, everything has to be like levered, and there has to be like something that's juicier than the 5% T-bill. And the other part is the yield agnostic one. I think for an ecosystem, you got to have both. And it seems like the status quo is, for the yield bearer, you do have Ethena. You would have, the newer ones such as cap protocol. For the yield agnostic one, you have USDC, which is already big on Hyperliquid. I assume USDT or USDT0 might come to Hyperliquid as well. Big fan of the USDT team. We work with them as well. And then USDH. So yeah, that's how I see the whole landscape.
Okay. So then I did want to also ask just like that moment when you saw that Athena withdrew, what did you think of that? Like, did you think that was a smart, move on their part? Like, why not just wait and see what happens over the next few days? Or, yeah, why do you think they decided to withdraw?
I could only guess. I think, when you're a founder, every day you wake up, you're like, I have like 100 things to do, and I need to prioritize. I think I'm just guessing in the Ethena team's head is like, okay, I probably have other priority that I should work on. Not sure about the Hyperliquid situation, given where the stakers are staking, the likely outcome of the vote, and I should just like cut the loss and focus on something else that's more important. But also, I thought that post was genius because it gets attention, and then everyone actually can see if Ethena doesn't win the proposal, what else they're going to do in the Hyperliquid ecosystem. So all in all, I think it's a winning post.
Yeah, I mean, they basically said we already have these other tickers anyway, so we're going to go ahead and do everything that we said we would do in the proposal, but with a different ticker. Yeah, because I think the line that got me was something like, what was it? Like saving 5 basis points on yield that's like going to be going down anyway. Like, meaning if it's from the treasuries, then yeah. So it's like, okay, yeah, that's a good point. All right. Oh, uh-huh.
No, I was going to say exactly that they're catering toward the yield sensitive audience.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So I just also want to ask like about this competition. Like, do you feel like we're going to be seeing more of this kind of public, RFP type situation with DAOs, or do you feel like we won't? Because there has been controversy, and I do see still like some drama and intrigue on my timeline. People accusing each other of this and that. Like this team was trying to bribe that team, and anyway, as we saw also, Haseeb Qureshi of Dragonfly tweeted that, he was already hearing well before the voting started that a bunch of the top validators were going to go for native markets, and he felt like it was sort of rigged from the start. And yeah, I retweeted that and I got a lot of pushback, and Haseeb got a lot of criticism. So yeah, I'm curious, do you feel like this has overall been good for the community and like points to a future trend, or do you feel like people after watching this are going to be like, we're definitely not going to do anything in the public?
So, I mean, what Hyperliquid did is very Hyperliquid coded, and I doubt I doubt a lot of other protocol can replicate. I think they just have insane vision, and it's almost like a style and attitude in how they run their ecosystem. I think the public pushback is very stereotypical crypto. I don't know. You and I have been in this industry for a long time. People just like catch on this controversial stuff, and honestly, this industry has been quiet in the last few months. So I don't know. I just saw people enjoy this, but I remain. I'm not certain how many teams will replicate such a public governance show.
Okay, yeah, it's been interesting because it's captured so much attention, which is positive, but then there's just been, yeah, a lot of drama.
Well, I would
So
just add one more thing is
uh-huh.
I think I encourage more protocols to actually do open governance. I think this is what crypto was designed for in 2017, and people should do it. But I just think it's risky for a lot of teams.
Yeah, well, yeah. Basically, there's just been this interesting trend with the DAOs where it just feels like a lot of them are kind of pausing or just closing, and even like Scroll on Thursday also announced that they're I don't remember the specifics of the wording, but yeah, they're, not going to be as active in some fashion. And so like earlier before, like basically when I recorded Wednesday with Agora and Paxos, we were like, oh, this has revived DAOs. And now I'm like, maybe not. But anyway, so I wanted to ask you, do you feel like this, concept of this protocol native stablecoin, do you feel like those stablecoins will always win? Or do you feel like, now that we've had so many teams that have proposed stablecoins on Hyperliquid, that this will just be an ecosystem that is full of many stablecoins? Like, how do you feel that competition will play out once these are all launched?
I think the one that gives the most back to token holder and community participants will ultimately win. I think stablecoins, the service as a business, is perhaps not differentiated. So you have to customize your offering based on what that ecosystem is known for and what's important to that ecosystem. In Hyperliquid is always the crypto native. I listened to your pod with Paxos and Agora. They kept mentioning, we're here to supercharge the crypto native ecosystem. So yeah, I do not see many stablecoin in successful ecosystem. I think they converge into the two category I mentioned: yield sensitive and yield agnostic.
Okay. And then what do you think all of this means for Tether and Circle on Hyperliquid? Like, do you feel like they'll eventually be pushed out in some way? Or what do you, see happening to these incumbents?
Unlikely in the near or medium term. I think they will continue to be there. I think they're adapting as well. I think before it's incredibly expensive and difficult, right, to get this incumbent. And I think now they're finding new solutions to be more present on different ecosystems. So I think the the battle is about to start. And I think fundamentally, going back to what I said in the beginning, it is such a bullish news for the ecosystem, because what is happening is competition is driving more economic back to the user and developer. So I think that's also why this news is so controversial. It's so significant, and it's such a demonstration of, I think, just next step, what the protocol is really about. It's about bringing economic value back to their users.
Okay. All right. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on Unchained.
Thank you, Laura.